You found Ask Alice. You found Ask Alice, the podcast that takes a deep dive into the societal currents shaping our lives. I'm your host, Alice, and together we'll explore the often unseen forces at play. We'll examine cutting-edge research, dissect the data, and most importantly, if you're seeking to understand what's shaping our society, this is the place.
Okay, let's get into it. Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
We've got your source material right here, all about these new U.S. travel restrictions from June 2025.
Right.
Our mission today, take what you send over, make sense of this presidential proclamation affecting people from, 19 countries?
19, yeah. It's quite a list.
So we'll unpack what the restrictions actually are, why the administration, according to your sources, says they're needed, and what the potential real-world effects might be.
And your sources really cover a lot of ground, the legal side, the countries, the potential impacts. It's interesting stuff.
Definitely. Okay, so the basics first. Starting June 9th, 2025, what actually happened?
So, June 9th, the U.S. put in place two different levels, two tiers of restrictions for nationals from these 19 countries.
Okay.
And this applies if you're outside the U.S. and you didn't have a valid visa already by that date. That's key.
Right, so existing valid visas weren't canceled by this specific action.
Exactly. If you had one before June 9th, this proclamation doesn't revoke it.
Got it. Two tiers. Tell us about the first one.
Okay, tier one is, it's a pretty big deal. A full suspension for nationals from 12 countries.
Full suspension meaning?
Meaning both immigrant visas, people trying to live here permanently, and most non-immigrant visas, for temporary stays like tourism, study.
Basically everything.
Pretty much. Your sources list places like Afghanistan, Iran, Sudan, Yemen, Haiti in this group.
Okay, quite a few countries facing major challenges already.
Yeah.
And the second tier?
That one hits 7 countries. It's more partial limits.
How so?
It primarily targets immigrant visas plus some specific non-immigrant types. Think B1, B2, tourist and business visas, F&M student visas, and J exchange visitor visas.
Ah, okay. Examples there.
Cuba, Venezuela, Laos are on that list according to the materials. For these countries, other visa types, maybe some work visas, might still be possible, but likely face, more scrutiny.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. The legal side. Where does this authority come from? What do the sources say? Well, the main legal hook highlighted in your material is Section 212 of the Immigration and Nationality Act.
Right, the INA.
Yeah. It gives the president really broad power to suspend entry if they find allowing certain people in would be detrimental to U.S. interests.
And your sources mentioned this power was upheld relatively recently by the Supreme Court.
Precisely. The Trump v. Hawaii case. The sources note the current proclamation explicitly references that decision. It's kind of the foundation they're leaning on.
So why now? What are the stated justifications according to the documents?
The administration points to a report that recommended these steps. The reasoning cited includes things like inadequate screening and vetting processes in those specific countries.
Security concerns.
Right. National security threats, and also significantly high visa overstay rates.
Ah, the overstay. I think the material had a specific example.
It did. Myanmar's overstay rate for student and exchange visas, FM and J visas, was mentioned as being over 42% in fiscal year 2023. That's used as a concrete example.
So the argument is partly about enforcement and cooperation from these countries.
Exactly. That's the stated rationale: protecting U.S. citizens, enforcing laws, addressing lack of cooperation.
Who's definitely not covered. Any clear exemptions listed?
Yes, your sources are clear on some key groups.
Yeah.
U.S. lawful permanent residents, green card holders, they're exempt.
Okay.
Also, dual nationals, if they use a passport from a country not on the restricted list, and people who already had a valid visa before June 9th, as we said.
What about family?
Certain close family members of U.S. citizens, like spouses and minor kids. Also, Afghan special immigrant visa holders and diplomats.
And waivers. Can individuals get exceptions?
The possibility exists, case by case. But the sources note the process is often, opaque.
Yeah.
And there isn't a specific track laid out for urgent humanitarian situations beyond those listed exemptions.
That lack of clarity seems like a point of concern in the material.
It is, yeah. The implementation details matter a lot.
So let's talk impact. What does this all mean on the ground? Beyond the visa applicants themselves, what wider effects do your sources point to?
Well, first, there are serious humanitarian concerns raised. Even with some family exemptions, it could still separate families who don't fit those narrow categories, like, many families of green card holders.
Then for people from places already in crisis.
Exactly. Countries like Sudan, Haiti, Yemen are mentioned. This just adds another huge hurdle for people facing desperate situations.
What about the economy? Did the sources touch on that?
They did. Interestingly, while the direct number of travelers from these specific 19 countries might not be massive in the grand scheme of things,
Right.
the sources warn about a potential chilling effect on overall global travel to the U.S.
How so?
Just the uncertainty, the negative perception it might create about U.S. travel policy overall. One expert estimated this could potentially cost billions in lost tourism and business travel down the line. It makes people hesitant.
That makes sense. And then there's academia and science.
Oh, absolutely. This is a major concern flagged in your sources. U.S. universities, research labs, they rely heavily on international students and scholars.
Especially in STEM fields.
Definitely. And some of these restricted countries, like Iran, have historically sent many talented people, particularly in science and engineering.
So blocking that flow.
It disrupts research, makes it harder to attract top global talent, and potentially pushes those brilliant minds to go elsewhere to competitor nations.
And just the uncertainty itself must be a headache for universities.
Huge administrative burden. Yeah. Planning becomes really difficult. It's a ripple effect.
So wrapping up, your sources do mention this isn't necessarily permanent. There's a review process.
That's right. Mandated review every 180 days. So the list of countries, the rules, they could change based on future assessments. It's not static.
Okay, so considering that legal basis, Section 212, the court ruling, and then all these potential ripple effects you've laid out from the sources, humanitarian, economic, academic, what's the big picture here? What does this policy really tell us about how the U.S. is trying to balance security concerns against its image as, a place for global talent and maybe a refuge?
It's a really complex balancing act, isn't it? And your sources show just how many different areas a policy like this touches. There are strong arguments presented about security needs, but also significant documented concerns about the broader context.